What's up, friends, and welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast, live from First Pitch, Arizona. Eric Cross, can I get a clap? Live studio audience here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Completely new experience because if you ever watch the Fantasy Pros videos that are out there, you see it's like, you know, the cool overlays and I'm over here and Arico's in another country or something like that. But this time I can touch and feel very appropriately, though. Joe Arico here. We're live in person. We've got some great people here. We've got some great guests scheduled to come on with us. We're not going to say the guests because things get crazy here, and let's just pray that they find their way into our panel here, into our live podcast recording. I'm Chris Welsh. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'm joined by the very, very pocket-full Joe Arico, who, if everybody doesn't know, took down an NFBC playoff contest. We don't need to say the exact number, but he might be like $20,000+ richer. So I'm just going to put your business out there.
That's okay. Everybody knows. Thank you, my friend. It's great to be here. This is my 4th year coming out here, and every year it's a slightly better experience. It feels like I'm doing more every year. It's my 2nd podcast of the day. We had a great time golfing, great time catching up with everybody. And we have a hell of a show planned for everybody tonight for our, I think it's 7,000 or 8,000 member studio audience here tonight. So it should be a great show for everybody here.
Yeah, we're just like, it's totally not convenient that we're not panning the camera behind so we can see the thousands and thousands of people behind us. Just trust and just believe. You can hear again? Can I get a, there you go. You can hear them. You can hear them. So what we're doing on the show today is we are tackling targets. And we're, more importantly, tackling industry targets. And what a better place to do it than how about the biggest baseball industry conference here at First Pitch, Arizona, brought to you by BaseballHQ, where we have got wonderful and awesome industry people here that are going to walk us through who some of their favorite targets in drafts are. Has anybody done any drafts or is prepping for any drafts this weekend in here? Just curious. Can I get fake Paul Sporer to come up here, please? Come right over here real quick. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, yeah, you actually, you know what, sit right there. That's perfect. You can sit there. So this is not Paul Sporer. If you are watching, Paul Sporer's over there, actually. It's a very scary situation. Yeah, if we can get a camera cue over to the real Paul Sporer. It's a Spider-Man meme, and then we come back here. I asked the question, what is your real name?
My name's Andy.
Fake Paul Sporer is a little bit better,
I like
but Andy, we'll do
better.
that. You've done a draft.
FSP.
You've done a draft.
I'm prepping for the best ball draft tomorrow, and I've been doing rankings. I've been pouring over the ADP data. So yeah,
this is wonderful.
I'm in the mindset.
Okay,
sure.
this is what I want to know then. Yeah, this is what I want to know then, real quick. What is the step? What is the thing for you that identifies someone as being a target? It could be a simplistic process or it could be a deeper process.
For me, what I look for is basically I look for guys. I look at the ADP and I try to find guys that I think are mispriced right now, and the prices change a lot. But I just look for guys that some guys just stick out to you, like Brian Wu is one of them. I think he is not only he has one of the best fastballs in baseball, but he was on the rise all season last year. And if you look at the way he finished his season, with his K- walk rate around 30%, I just think he's like a bona fide ace. And he's where he's being drafted at right now. He's like in the 4th round. It reminds me of Garrett Crochet of last season. So like that's a guy right now that I think you can go 3 hitters and then take Brian Wu as your ace, and you might be ahead of the game at this point in the draft season. So like I look for guys like that. That's just an example.
That's perfect, Andy. I didn't actually think you were real fake Paul Sporer, but you talk as much as Paul. That was amazing. You did a great breakdown. I thought we were going to get a quick answer.
I'm also targeting Gavin Williams, and look out for Reed Detmers.
He really is. He's still going.
Look out for Reed Detmers if he's back in the Angels rotation. Okay, now I'm just
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, fake Paul Sporer. Thank you, Andy.
A real Paul Sporer. Please stand up.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Gavin Williams might come up a little bit later. Eric Cross, just real quick. Can I get you to come up real quick? Hey, round of applause for Eric Cross, please. Eric was not scheduled to come on the show. We just got, in the term industry can always be kind of thrown around, but I wanted to get someone that was hanging in here, an industry guy in the drafts. Can you just give me a quick summation, like, even if it's one thing, what is the identifier for a target for you? How do you target a player? If I was asking you on here, you're targeting a player, what's the thing that jumps out to you that is going to make that person become, it could become ADP, it could be last year's production, the missed price, like what is an identifier for you for an industry target for yourself?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to, I'm always trying to find, a positive return on investment, whether that be, obviously it's harder to do it in the early rounds because you take guys so high, but when you get into the 100s, 200s, that's where you could really find, like, all right, what guys can I get, like, pick 250 that might be able to even be, like, a top 150 guy? It doesn't have to be, like, a massive, top 50 guy, not like a massive breakout, but just guys that can give me positive return on investment. Like, one, just to throw a name out there, us being prospect guys, I love Dylan Beavers at his early ADP, which is right around pick 300. Guy that can hit for average, get on base, hit some home runs, steal some bags, and should play close to every day with Baltimore. So him going around pick 300 could be a top 150 guy this year. So that's kind of like what I look at. I'm like, all right, can this guy, not every pick will be a positive ROI. But sometimes you're just like, all right, I need to fill a position. This guy will get me, get me what I need. But I like to get a lot of those guys in my draft where I'm like, all right, this guy could really outproduce and give me a positive return on investment.
That's perfect. Eric Cross, everybody. Thank you so much, man. So the point of that, just to get some other opinions, I don't necessarily know if we're going to have anybody, go through like the definition of like, this is what the target is, but we're going to have people give you all their reasons throughout. We've got multiple guests that have picked a couple of their favorites, a hitter and a pitcher that they are targeting and love this year. And then they're going to break through all the stuff and maybe, as Joe Rico's maybe going to do here in just a second, is going to answer some of those questions on maybe helping you figure out what those identifiers are, whether it's someone like Joe Rico, who's a big NFBC champion in the playoffs, if you didn't hear. Their winning nature, picking a player that's as simplistic enough for you, or if it's going to be a bigger breakdown, or we're going to tell you one stat. Sometimes I do it all the time. I fall in love with like one thing about a player, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy. Let's build on all the rest. So we are going to have a couple great people coming up here in just a minute. But Joe Rico and I have both picked out a few of our targets. We've got a hitter. We've got a pitcher for this upcoming season that we both love. So Joe Rico, why don't you kick us off here? You've got a player, I've got a hitter and a pitcher. You get to pick whichever one you want to do. Let's hear the breakdown. Your targets for 2026.
So I think we'll start with the pitcher, and we'll go pitcher, hitter. I'm going with Cole Reagans, and my hitter will be a little bit deeper down the well, I promise. But Cole Reagans just stands out because of how seemingly cheap he is. Now, he's not free or anything like that. He's the SP16, 17 so far in early rooms. But the stats last year were just eye-popping. The ERA, yes, on the surface, 4.67 is awful. Every single one of the ERA estimators was incredible. A 2.63 expected ERA, a 2.50 FIP, 2.54 xFIP. The strikeout minus walk rate blows you away, 30%. 38% strikeout rate, 7.8% walk rate. 1.18 whip in a bad year for Cole Reagans really stands out as well. And he ended the year healthy with a couple of fantastic outings. His second to last outing, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, and 10 strikeouts, and he finished the year 4 1/3, shutout ball with 8 strikeouts. So Cole Reagans as the SP16 feels like a screaming value right now. He feels like a top 10 starting pitcher, and my rankings will reflect that going into next year.
Yeah, I love that. I think health is sometimes one of the bigger questions we have. Like the development of what happened with the Royals was huge. He has the upside, and that's sometimes the play. So that's like a top 5 SP that you're getting a little bit of value on. You understand the value. I'm very much into that. I'm very much glad you picked him as well, because we have a very eclectic group of players from the high end to the much deeper plays for you guys as targets. Because again, the idea of like a draft target can be like, oh, I want, the second round player, or as many of the industry people are going to pick, they fall in love with someone that's in like the 200s. I got to have them on all my teams, and you get the choice of having them. Reagans, maybe not necessarily, but at the cost, you kind of can, especially in the like SP market where you might be going up and down and maybe passing on them for a little bit, maybe not going the first 4 or 5 rounds. Reagans could be one of those sneaky guys that kind of leads your rotation. All right, hitter. The funny thing about the hitter is Joe Rico, strike one, strike two. We hit on it because great minds think alike. He unfortunately picked my guy, and then he picked one of our guest guys. So this is the third take on great players and great minds. So who is your hitter you're targeting this year?
Yeah, you put me through my paces with this one, but I ended up going with Alec Burleson, who actually won a Silver Slugger the other day. It's kind of funny to go through the National League Silver Sluggers. No shade at Alec Burleson. I love him. I picked him, but it's funny to look at all the lists of these juggernauts, and then you see a guy who you're not really expecting with the utility Silver Slugger award. He improved across the board last season, and you wouldn't really think that because he went from 21 homers down to 18, 78 ribbies down to 69. But
Nice.
the strikeout rate was 12% to 14%. The swinging strike rate actually went down, though, from 9.4 to 8% even. Barrel rate went up from 6.5 to 9.4%. Hard hit rate slightly trended up. He was chasing less. He was making more contact in the zone. I like everything about Alec Burleson. He's multi-eligible first base and in the outfield, and he is really inexpensive so far, going after pick 200 in just about every draft, I believe, to this point. If you're looking at first baseman, he's the 19th off the board, and based on outfielders, he's the 52nd off the board. So really inexpensive, dual-eligible player who showed improvement across the board last season.
Glue guy. Love glue guys. Like you can take some shots on, some big categories if you want. Maybe you can take some shots on whatever it is, batting average. You're getting a strikeout guy, and then you get these glue guys that just build your teams. I absolutely, I love that one. I've got two. I'm definitely curious. I know you love my hitter. I'll be curious at the pitcher. And the pitcher actually came up in another one of the live shows, our dear friends over at CBS Fantasy Baseball today. We might talk with one of those guys. This player came up, and my ears perked because my pitching target for the year, probably not a shock to everybody. I love prospects. I don't pick a ton of prospects. This guy is still holding on to eligibility just a little bit. It's Nolan McLean. I love Nolan McLean this year. And I don't know if the ADP is getting into like a little bit of a space. Chris Towers was kind of talking about, we talked about the Savage versus McLean ADP is changing, but the ADP aside, I love the stuff. So here's some stuff I've got for you. Obviously this year, 48 innings, 8 starts, rolled out a 2.06 ERA. Ridiculous. 1.04 whip, 57 strikeouts, 30% K percentage with an 8% walk rate. I'd also throw this out to people. I don't know if everybody knows. Nolan McLean was a two-way player. This is a guy that has not been pitching at the same rate a lot of these other guys are. This is a prospect eligible guy that came into this Mets team, dominated, didn't have a point where he didn't dominate, and he's still learning how to pitch. He's an absolutely ridiculous dude. Sinker sits at 95. He's got a great sweeper, curve, change cutter. From August 1st on, McLean had the 6th best stuff plus of all pitchers in baseball. The CBS guys talked about Cam Schlittler from the second half. Nolan McLean was right in there. He had a 6-pitch repertoire. This was stupid as well. Every one of his pitches, all 6 pitches, had a 100 or higher stuff plus. I mean, you don't see that often, as well as 3 of those pitches going 113 or higher on stuff plus. So those are just dominant pitches. The crown jewel, though, is the curve, which registered a 151 stuff plus. The best of any pitcher if he qualified. So that is a dominant strikeout pitch. That pitch alone had a .74 batting average against, a 50% whiff rate, and this is another thing I really liked. It's a higher K percentage than the whiff rate, 67%. The 67. I know. I'm sorry. I'm a dad. I've been blamed for dad stuff all day. I lost the audience. I'm sorry. All right, let me see it.
That out of the pod.
All right, I'll see if I can get you back. I'll get you back with the hitter. I know. God, I did. You can hear the booze. The movement grades are elite. He had a 32% RPM on his curve, 29 on the sweeper. I can just do all this stuff. It's elite movement. And then if you look at some of the early steamer numbers, I thought was really interesting. 163 innings projected, which is a really aggressive, again, for a player that was a two-way guy, and a 3.74 ERA. I think they're underplaying his strikeouts. His ADP is kind of showing some of this, but I think it's absolutely elite stuff. So I love Nolan McLean. I wasn't really quick about that, and I did lose you guys. Let me see if I can get you back. My hitter, I have a history with this player. I see some faces in here that were here with me like 4 or 5 years ago. I fall in love with some guys in the AFL. Sometimes that gets me crushed. This player was held against me for quite a few years, and I have not mentioned this player outside of podcasts in the last month or couple months I've done. I haven't talked about this player a lot, but boy, it feels good to be back. Me and him, Jacob Marcy. Can I get cheers for Jacob Marcy in my take here? Thank you. I sat in a room, a prospect panel many years ago, with a Padres scout in the audience, kind of being like, as I was talking about Jacob Marcy, and I loved him out here, and he went through it. But you guys all know, it's back. Jacob Marcy has looked awesome. Batting average this year, he hit 292, 5 homers, 14 stolen bases in like 200 at-bats in the majors. It was supported. Baseball Savant, you look at his expected batting average of 283. Pretty respectable, 41% hard hit rate and 8% barrel rate. It looked like he could have gone in the direction of like a Luis Rise, Jacob Wilson type, but the hard hit and barrel rates, they give like pretty good promise for some potential like hitting hard hit profile that we could see more power than those other guys. He had an 11-degree launch angle, and if qualified, would have had one of the bigger launch angle sweet spot. And sweet spot's like a weird thing Baseball Savant does. The thing I always kind of note to it, it's like a Mookie Betts stat. Like Mookie does a really good job in LA, which is really friendly to right-handed hitters, gets the ball in the air, floats out, and gets homers, and that's something that like Jacob Marcy is starting to show. Overall, he was relatively average against fastballs if you look at like his overall profile, but he was well above average against like breaking and off-speed stuff. He was hitting over 300 on off-speed and breaking pitches, and maybe more interesting, looking at every single pitch type, he hit 273 or higher against every single pitch type, except forcing fastballs. That was it. And that's like the most movement throughout the year in seasons of what you can end up doing. 87% zone contact rate, hit both righties and lefties well. I guess I could keep kind of going on, but he looks like a really, really big time hitter, and Steamer Projections has him third in stolen bases this year. He is not far off from being a 15-40 guy, and his ADP is outside the top 100. So I love me some Jacob Marcy. You also love some Jacob Marcy. Anything you want to add on my love of the player that I did steal from you first?
I have been in love with Jacob Marcy, not quite as long as you, because you follow these players a lot longer than I do throughout the minor leagues, but Marcy's plate discipline data was ridiculous this year in his first cup of coffee. 19% O swing, a 90% zone contact. He doesn't chase. He makes a ton of contact in the zone. The swinging strike rate is only 7%. There's a lot to love here. No arguments on Marcy. The only thing I'll push back on with McLean, and we talked about him a little bit earlier on Sleeper in the Bust, and the one thing that kind of stands out is that he's already so expensive.
Yeah.
He's already at 118 to 125 range in drafts, and we were a little bit worried that where is he going to go from there? If he goes up to 60, 70, that's a big problem. And even where he is right now, he's already like an SP3, so you got to have a lot of confidence in him, and you do have a lot of confidence. I do, but not to the same degree where I would want him at this price. I think if you're playing in Yahoo, ESPN, some more home league style, more casual formats, he'll be a lot more of an appealing pick. People will still be interested, but I don't think he'll be a top 100 pick on Yahoo the way he is on the NFBC. So if you're a more casual league player, Noel McLean's a big target. If you're playing in high stakes leagues, a couple of hot spring training starts, he's a top 50 pick probably.
Let me ask you a question. Nolan McLean or Trey Savage? No reason I'm asking that, Blue Jays fan. Not asking for any particular reason, but Trey Savage or Nolan McLean?
Yeah, Savage is 45 picks cheaper. I'd probably take you Savage given the price difference.
Okay.
Guilty.
He is a good price. I'm not
Guilty.
going to lie about that.
Frank Stanfield, that is guilty as charged.
McLean or who?
Or Chase Burns.
Nolan McLean. I mean, but also, Chase Burns stuff is like looks phenomenal, but I think you can consider like ballpark worst ballpark, good ballpark, offensive support. I mean, like Nolan McLean could kind of fall. There's an absolute chance he could fall apart, but the thing he did differently than some of these other guys, maybe specifically like Bubba Chandler, he didn't have a rough patch. So maybe that worries you. Maybe he didn't, what's the rough patch going to look like? But the stuff is ridiculous. So those are our guys. Those are targets, 2 pitchers, 2 hitters that we both love. But we're not here to just talk to you guys. We have got a set of guests that we're very excited about, and let's bring them up. We've got a hitter and a pitcher, and we're going to start with the one, the only, Frankie Stamps. Let's do it, Frankie. By the way, if anybody would like to go track down Eno Saris, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's Friday night.
I'm not saying he's coming on the show, but if anyone would like to go track him down, that would be sweet. Yeah. Eno, though. Eno, man of the people. Frank Stamfel from CBS Fantasy Baseball today. We very stupidly got some Mexican food that did
my
not sit
gosh.
well with us earlier. We drove down here. We've had a rough day, but we're going to make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Frank, you guys did a great show that everybody should check out. You obviously do a great overall podcast, and I'm very excited that you are hanging with us to give us your hitter and your pitcher that you're targeting this year. So I'm setting you up. Who is your hitter that you are targeting for the 2026 season?
First, I do have to offer my heartfelt condolences to Joe Arrico and the Blue Jays for losing in
Sorry,
the World
buddy.
Series.
It'll be okay.
Yankees lose.
I deserve that. But yes, Yankees, Blue Jays, we go at it. We have some fun. Let's start with the hitter here, and shout out James Anderson. I think he's going to like this one. Sal Stewart of the Cincinnati Reds, 21 years old, made his debut late in the season. Very, very small sample size. I will reference some bigger sample things that he did in the minors, but only 18 games with the Reds. He hit 5 homers, 839 OPS. The StatCast stuff was insane. 95.4 average exit velocity, 112.6 max exit velocity, 17.5% barrel rate. Pulled the ball in the air like crazy, a 30% there. He understands what he needs to do to get to power. Hits in an amazing ballpark to get to that power. Playing in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark, obviously. Really impressive in the minors what he did this past season. 118 games, hit 309, 20 homers, 17 steals, 907 OPS. Don't know how much I buy the speed completely, but really what you want here is the high batting average, the potential for like a 4-category contributor. Maybe he chips in like 10 to 12 steals, 10 to 15 steals, something like that. And I love that he makes so much contact, too. It was just a 15.6% strikeout rate in the minors this past season. I love that the Reds' nucleus is also a bunch of other young hitters, too, so these guys are growing together. I mean, they're really a young team all around. Their pitchers are pretty young as well, but we've got Ellie De La Cruz, we got Noelvi Marte, we got Sal Stewart. These guys are all kind of growing and figuring things out together. I guess the one flaw in his game is that he is very aggressive at the plate, and he does chase and he does swing quite a bit, so he might not walk all that much. But just in terms of making contact, hitting for batting average, hitting the ball extremely hard, and where does he play defensively? That is another question for him, but I think he's just going to hit so well that they'll find somewhere to put him. Is it DH? Is it first base?
Yeah.
The bat will play so well that they will find a way to get him in the lineup.
That's what I was going to ask you. And it's not fair to do this, but is there any Christian Encarnacion Strand fear of like us anointing someone with a position?
Why would you do that, Wes?
I'm sorry, but
We're trying to have fun. We're trying to have a good
We're
time.
having a great time. We're having a great time, Frank. But getting down to brass tacks, like they have a lot of guys. You did say you're like, hey, they got a bunch of young nucleus. Cam Collier is out here working at first base. They had Strand. They got Steer. They've got a lot of guys. You feel confident enough. The NFBC ADP early on is like just outside 230, so it's like pretty palatable. But like,
Love that.
Just as a quick follow up, do you feel confident he's going to be able to hold down his spot?
Look, it's always a possibility with any prospect. I mean, you know more than anybody that someone could come up and fail, and someone Christian Encarnacion Strand that I also liked quite a bit. So, and another similarly aggressive hitter in Sal Stewart. It's always a possibility, but I just think that he is going to hit so well that he's going to put himself in position to have a spot. I don't really buy Spencer Steer, although he's squeezed as much out of that bat as he possibly could. Ayo, that was kind of weird, but I think between first base and DH, they'll find a way to get his bat in line.
There's like a crypto conference here, so Sal Stewart coin is going off right now. They're very excited about it. We're like screaming. You guys probably can't hear that. So, all right, there's the hitter. On to you, Joey Rico.
Yeah, so Frank, we are going to hear about a pitcher, Ian Seymour, and there was actually kind of like not a controversy today, but Bob Seymour was DFA'd by the Rays, and some people thought it was Ian Seymour, so there was kind of like this controversy back and forth. I don't think it was actually Ian Seymour, because that would be ridiculous after what we saw from him last year, but walk us through why you're interested in Ian Seymour, buddy.
Yeah, so he finally made his debut with the Rays this past season, and he looked really good. It was 19 games. He got 5 starts in at the end of the season. 3.63 ERA, 118 WHIP, just over 10K per 9. Walks a little high, 3 walks per 9 this past season, but 12% swinging strike rate. He doesn't throw hard, but he's got this funky delivery. He's got an awesome fastball changeup combination. I think his cutter does a good job of inducing soft contact. He doesn't use his sweeper much, but when he did, 35% whiff rate, so perhaps we could see that pitch a little bit more from Ian Seymour. Put up big numbers in his minor league career. I mean, just across his entire minor league career. It's a 2.53 ERA, 102 WHIP, 422 strikeouts, over 345 in a third innings. And I'm looking to buy back in on all Rays pitchers this season because they're headed back into Tropicana Field, and Steinbrenner Field that they played in this past season, the strikeout park factor for that was middle of the pack. It was 14th. Tropicana Field, the strikeout park factor from 2022 through 24, the 4th best among ballparks during that span. And we know that Tropicana has a way of helping stuff play up and just getting more strikeouts there. It's a little bit tougher to see the ball in Tropicana. So I'm looking to buy back in on any discount we get on all Rays pitchers. I think Ian Seymour is probably going to be the cheapest, right? I think he's going outside the top 300 in ADP right now. So just a true deep sleeper, like late round flyer type. I don't even think you have to draft him as one of your starters. Even in a 15-team league, he's probably like one of your bench pitchers. And I'd love taking a shot on his upside at that point.
You want Rays pitchers?
That's a really good call. Yeah, I like it a lot. He's 100 picks cheaper than McClanahan, and as of today, I mean, give me Seymour. I still don't trust McClanahan. I mean, maybe you can trust him, but I trusted him last year. I mean, last year was such a disaster. It was such a disaster, You can't fool me, you can't get fooled again.
Yeah, fool me once, though. Fool me once. You can't get fooled again. That's fine, but I'd still like me some Shea McClanahan. I also like some Frank Stamfel. Yes. Frankie Stamps. We're buying Frankie Stamps coin to the moon. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, from one legend to another. He's one of my dear friends. I love him deeply. He is Eno Saris from The Athletic and Sleeper. Rates and Barrels, all the podcasts. Eno Saris. Eno is here.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Eno, you're coming. By the way, if we could have, I would have just taken his bat speed talk he was doing and bat metrics and just made that part of our show, but we can't steal.
Well, I can.
Okay,
do
can
that
we
for
steal?
you. Yes, on the
Please.
hitting thing.
Okay, well then let's start to steal then, my friend. It's great to see you. You're always the talk of the town here. Everybody's always looking for you. It's always a great time to spend time. Is the life of the party.
Man, I love this weekend. It's so much fun. These are my people.
Well, and you're one of ours, and we love talking with you. And you've got two really, really fascinating names on this list. When I started to curate these from everybody, it was so interesting to see the eclectic different versions of players. Because sometimes I'm like, please don't everybody pick like Ellie De La Cruz and Bobby Witt, and everybody just went so far from it. I would never expect that from you. But transitioning right into what you talked about, this is definitely going to speak to this player. I was about to give it away, but I don't want to give it away. Your hitter that you're targeting this year is going to open some eyes, because the only thing I'm going to say, this is probably the player with the worst production from last year that we're going to talk about on this list, but you're going to sell it to us. So, who do you got?
Well, I think a lot of the work that we do is in comping. We are looking to understand things through the lens of, a guy like he has a slider like this guy, or he has a fastball like this guy. So if I could tell you that I have a guy that has the exact same swing, the exact same bat speed, the exact same plate approach as Junior Caminero.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Would you like a Junior Caminero? Would you like another Junior Caminero that's from the left side? And
we do have one listener that yelled at me this year. The Fantasy Pros listeners, a guy came on a live stream and he went in the chat and he stopped the chat and he said, "You know what?" He's like, "I got a problem. Welsh forced me to draft Junior Caminero this year." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" 43 homers later, I feel pretty good.
Worked out all right.
Yeah, we worked out.
So the guy I'm describing is Jack Caglione, and I think that it wasn't a great debut, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have anything to work on. I think particularly it's refining the plate discipline. When you have like so much to give, and you are just like a little puppy, and you just want to show everybody what you can do, and you've got this amazing bat speed, and you've got really good ball, like handed ball, like you think you can hit anything. And I think he did. He hit mostly everything.
Can I add something real quick? I don't want to interrupt.
But he needs to not swing at some of those things.
So, because I want you to keep going. But last year in the AFL, he was here. People probably know some of this story. I got this video. It was ridiculous homer. It looked like he hit it a mile. And this was at Camelback Ranch. And the StatCast data ended up telling us it was like 420 or 425 or something like that. And I was like, there's no way. Nobody moved. I saw him 2 days later. And I went to him and I said, "Jack," I'm like, "there's no chance that homer was 425. Without hesitation, he went 503. He's like, I went in the dugout and I confirmed that was over 500. So just to your point, like this puppy likes him a long ball, and he wanted to correct me immediately that the data did not have it, but they're in dugout stuff did. So I just wanted to add that little anecdote, but keep going.
No, I mean, like you can do it with numbers that aren't as fancy as the bat speed numbers and stuff if you're not as into those. But like Max EV, he hit a ball 114. The only people who've hit the ball more than 114 among qualified hitters is Vlad Guerrero Jr., Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Kyle Schwarber, Seiya Suzuki, and Shohei Ohtani. It's like, okay, I want to be on that list. And he does that with I think, really good, bat to ball. And I think we have some numbers that suggest that, like, his minor league swing decisions were better. And then if you just look at Caminero himself, Caminero's debut was not amazing, and he kind of did the same thing where he swung at everything, and he didn't show the same power. And if you look at Caminero's zone decisions and chase decisions, they improved slightly. I don't think these are things, like you can't change Javier Baez's, chase rate, completely over his, but you can with young players sort of dial it in. And so I'm just asking, swing at, 2 or 3 fewer balls outside the zone a game, and it's just going to really unlock. And for what it's worth, like he hit 7 homers. Like it wasn't that bad of a debut. So
also, it doesn't feel like it, but 22% K percentage, like that. He feels like, I think he feels like Spencer Jones to people if you follow the prospects. Like Spencer Jones, like loud homers, and he hit 270, but he struck out like.
There's not really a fatal flaw here like Spencer Jones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like so it's really interesting. And comparative to the player we just talked about with Sal Stewart, 231 ADP. So they're right next to each other. So you can play on the underlying stats that really jump. And I thought that was one of the most fascinating names on this list as an industry target for someone that someone like you that is targeting into drafts this year. But the hitters may be even outdone by the pitcher. Joe?
Yeah, I have a theory that Wells chose me to select the pitchers so that he didn't have to try and pronounce this name that Eno is about to give us here. And it may be the first time you guys are hearing this name, so I'm going to let Eno break him down for you.
Why don't you give it a shot?
All right, I'll give it a try.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Tatsuya Imai.
I think that's it.
Yeah? Okay.
Well done.
There we go.
Yeah.
Regular Tim McLeod.
I have a real hard time with Shota's last name for some reason. I get the whole emphasis on the wrong syllable all the time. So like,
Yep, that sounds right.
That sounds like something you might do.
That sounds right.
That sounds like something. But Imai, a little bit easier last name to handle. Again, the comp for me is Joe Ryan with 95. Oh, and he touched 100. So sitting 95, touching 100, he could actually come here and sit 96, sit 97. He has a 20-degree arm angle, which would be in the bottom 10% of the league right away. And if you take his vertical numbers from Japan and you compare them only to people with his arm angle, the comps are Joe Ryan and Luis Castillo. And if you do it with all the comps in it, it would be a 102 stuff plus fastball. So that doesn't sound amazing, but just having an above average fastball and then, his splitter is really good. It's the year of the splitter. We're going to go splitter crazy this year. And he throws the Savage reverse slider. So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing because it's a weird thing. It's the slider that has arm side movement instead of glove side movement. But it is like a low slot Savage. So it's something like a low slot Savage or a high velo Joe Ryan.
What's most interesting about that to me is what's the biggest knock on Roki Sasaki this year? Fastball
shape.
stinks.
Yeah.
His fastball stinks.
And
that's
and
the problem.
Imai doesn't really have that problem. I
And
don't
that
think.
you're selling us on a guy with a splitter, reverse Savage, and a plus on a fastball.
And
27 years old, touches into the high 90s, had a 1.92 ERA in Japan last year, 163 innings as well. So, I mean, we can stack some innings on. It's a really fascinating name who at time of us recording, it has not signed. A lot of the guys are posting right now, but I see why he's a target. And he's actually going just inside the top 300 of NFBC drafts right now. So imagine when he signs.
I think that number will keep going up.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where I think there'll be more value actually in earlier draft and holds where you can get him now. And he might start scraping overpriced by March.
What is overpriced?
Right now, I have him 30th.
Of SPs?
in all SBs.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of room left. But if he starts going ahead of the Schlittler, Savage, guys that we've seen pitch in Major League ball games in America and have great success, then I think it's too far. Like if you're taking him over Mizorowski or something, I think you've gone too far.
What about Nolan McLean?
Yeah, I think I have all those guys ahead. So I have all those I have like a hype 7.
Okay.
That's like, it's basically like 23 to 30, and then Imai is like the end of the hype 7. So
How do you not get hyped listening to Eno talk? By the way, like,
but I mean, there's other things that Imai did. There's some command concerns early on in his career, but if you look at his walk rate, it went from 14% to 11% to 10% to 7%. I'm going to buy that as growth and legitimate growth. I guess if there's risk, that one is the risk is some walk rate regression, and then just the risk of a guy who's never played in Major League Baseball. So,
Hey, man.
but we've seen so many guys come over from Japan and go and port right over that I'm pretty excited. Maybe my rank will go down when I keep looking at it and playing around with the names, but that's where he's right now.
And I would just throw in like when you're tooling your teams together, what did we talk about before? Glue guys. Glue guys are great. Guess what? Glue guys allow you to do stuff like this. They allow you to take some chances on Caglione or Imai. Like I'd like that. That's the way I want to construct stuff. I want to have some big shots, and I want to have some guys that kind of protect me from when I get crazy. When I get crazy with stuff.
It's the YOLO yo-yo.
Yeah, exactly. Yo-yo. I like that. Eno Saris from the Athletic Rates of Barrels. Brother, we love you. Thank you so much. Eno. All right, we're not done. We still got a couple more here. I'm going to let Joe introduce our next because Joe might have a little connection with this guy. Do you know
The
who it is?
real Paul Spohr, please stand up.
Is that the real one? Prove it.
How can I identify myself?
How can you prove that you're the real
Is that
Paul
a real
Spohr?
mustache? We gotta try.
His is better.
Do a little peel and see if it's a
His
real
is
mustache.
definitely better.
Okay, I know how to prove it. What is the average amount of hours? Thank you. Well, actually, what is the average amount of hours if I were to text you it would take to get a return text? Just take a guess. Well, someone in the audience, would you like to take a guess?
You want to jump in?
What would you say?
A day.
Okay, that's the real Paul Spohr. That is the real Paul Spohr. That is exactly him. Paul, love you, brother. Love you, brother, man. How many chapsticks do we have with us?
3.
That's just a real Paul
Not
Spohr.
in my pocket, but they're here.
All right.
What if one falls out?
You guys already did a show earlier today, Paul Spohr. We did. Sleeper in the Bus, kind of a big deal. Great mustache, A graded. And you got some players for us. And what is special about this, he also stole one of Joe Rico's players. So me and Paul are the sandwich of stealing the players that he wanted to talk about. So I'm going to let you jump into this hitter. I think he's going to be a high-rising name, very popular player. Absolutely love this pick. This entire side of the table loves this guy. So why don't you hit us with your draft target for 2026?
Addison Barger, man, just got off that hot playoff, which I really did like. He had a strong debut, 243 average, 107 WRC plus. They don't jump off the page, but they're solid. 21 homers, 74 ribbies, 61 runs, 4 steals, and 502 plate appearances. Bunch of numbers, but all pretty good in about 500 plate appearances. And then the 68 excellent playoff plate appearances, including that huge lefty-lefty grand slam. That comes after an ugly August and September. And so while it is the 68 plate appearance sample, I mean, not like August and September is huge either. So if we're going to get mad at him about that, I love seeing him on the biggest stage pop off there and kind of end the season on a high note. Dual eligible third and outfield. That's a nice little combo there. Just loud skills. Not just with the defense, which I do think helps on the fantasy perspective because it guarantees him playing time, but just blood red on the bat speed and hard hit. Power. Power drives everything, right? That's just a great foundation. It's the velocity of hitting, and so it just kind of builds in a level of quality for him. I think he should be at least a starting third baseman or right fielder. We got him penciled in at third base right now as the resident Blue Jays guy. Is that where he's going to be, or does he have a chance to be in the outfield?
I hope that we sign so many players that he's relegated to a bench role. I hope that's
Shut up.
But I think as of today, he's probably platooning third with Ernie Clement.
Yeah, probably so.
If I had to guess.
And in fact, that leads me to my next point. Well done. Some platoon risk there for sure. I mentioned 502 plate appearances. I think that's covered in the price, though. He's the 16th third baseman off the board with an ADP of 208 for Barger. And listen, this is kind of where the platoon crushers go. Kerry Carpenter's 206. And frankly, if he just repeats Carpenter's 24, which, was player rater 119. Or 25, excuse me, the season that Kerry Carpenter just had, which was worse than Barger's. So I think Barger could be worse, and it was only 464 plate appearances for Carpenter. So if he basically just emulates him at that price point, that's fine. And that's a downside there. Again, that was player rater 119 for Carpenter this year, the hitter. So you got to add in pitchers there, and it will be around that ADP. That'll kind of return your value. I like a guy where having kind of a mediocre output there would just kind of get my draft price back. I think there's a ton of upside here. I think he's got 40 home run power if he can figure out anything against lefties. Not figure them out, but be like a high 600s, low 700s OPS as opposed to low 600s. But even as just a Kerry Carpenter type, he can chase third.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was about, what's the worst case scenario? He's just Toronto's Kerry Carpenter.
Just be
and
Carpenter,
that-
third base outfield, chase down 30, and we'll see where it goes from there.
The price is honestly shockingly low. He's going below Dalen Lyle, Anthony Santander, Matt McClain.
Dalen Lyles.
I almost picked Dalen Lyle to be on the show, so we can't have.
That's not that I don't like him. Barger's hitting grand slams in the World Series.
Off lefties.
Jason Dominguez is going ahead.
Jason Dominguez.
We're not gonna have any Dalen Lyle slander
I
going
like
on here.
Dalen
Just
Lyle.
gonna put that
but
out here.
There's some. I don't understand some of the things.
No, I think
agree.
he's at
I
a great
agree.
spot. I think there is probably some room to move up if there is some helium there, but I don't know how high it's going to get. Everyone's going to stress the platoon risk, which again is a fair point. There are reasons stacked against him because there aren't a bunch of flashy numbers. It is really just kind of raw power. It's okay plate skills. He's like just below average in walks to strikeouts at 0.3, 0.38 is league average there. But I just think that you kind of bet on the come sometimes, right? It doesn't take a lot of adjustment here. Just be a little bit better for Barger, and he can have a huge season. If he hits 30, you're loving everything you're getting. But again, even if he only hits 20 and is pretty decent, you pick 200, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not a big craps guy, so the reference still
What's that?
works. I'm not a big craps guy betting on the but you got it. Pitcher, what do you got?
Oh, I got a lot of Pepio in my Stepio is what I got. He essentially repeated his strong 2024 season. 16% strikeout minus walk, 21st among qualified starters. That's 162 innings, 1 inning per game. And that's despite St. Pete's. He was actually better on the road, if you believe that. Everyone was worried about St. Pete's, and I know we're excited about guys going back to the Trop, and I totally agree with that with regards to Ian Seymour and all the race pitchers, but it might not benefit Pepio that much if he doesn't fix up the road a little bit. That said, he has a 107 whip at the Trop, 112 at St. Pete's. I'll take that extra 5 points there all day. 156 ADP, another price point that I'm just a little bit shocked being that low. He's pitcher 69, which is pretty nice. I didn't count SP versus RP. Hey, Greg Ambrosius, can we get that split, dude? What are we doing? It's 2025. Give me a break. Anyway, he's just Sandy Alcantara, Trey Savage, Shane Bieber going just ahead of him, and then Eovaldi, Horton, and Edward Cabrera going behind him. Like, that's a pretty good spot to be in. I think he's just as good as the three going ahead, and I think he's definitely better than Eovaldi, Horton, and Cabrera. I think they all have merits of their own. That's not down on them. Again, that's just because I, again, say it with me, got a lot of Pepio in my Stepio.
Put it on the shirt. Cost relative to you, Joe, Ian Seymour or Pepio?
How much Ian cost? What was the price point again?
Seymour is
Seymour's around
313
3, yeah.
and Pepio 154. I probably would take Seymour just because he's essentially, and I'm not gonna say he's free. It's too early to start saying people are free in November already. He's very inexpensive. Pepio is as well, but he also had kind of a poor finish. Pepio, which it doesn't worry me a ton, but given that huge price discount, I would take Seymour in that one.
You can put Pepio and a Stepio on an OTP card?
Yeah,
do that?
I gotta get RotoWare to make a shirt for me.
Okay, let's get it
I'm
going.
certain he'll do it.
One that exists already like that. There isn't one? No. Maybe
I
not.
just
gonna
made
be.
this phrase up this year.
Pepio and your Stepio?
He's super creative. He just did this,
No
Joe.
way.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hasn't that been a thing?
From me,
That was you?
this guy.
It sounds like a Jeff Erickson special.
From
he's
the
puns.
from
He's
the fake
puns.
from the
Yeah.
fake Paul Sporer to the real
real
Paul
Paul
Sporer.
Sporer.
Sleeper in the bust.
Thank
Ladies and gentlemen. We're working on 12-hour text next time between the 24 hours. We've got one more great one. We're gonna bring down the house with Bubba and the Blooms. KC Bubba in the house. Oh my God! Is that hit? Did his music just hit?
You heard the
Casey.
glass shatter, boys.
Casey Bubba in the big golf tournament, the big pie. He's kind of a superstar around here. How'd the golf go? Did you win?
No. The my co-host did.
Oh, Bloomfield.
Yeah, he's a ringer.
The
Sam
Bloomfield
Wagner.
Invitational.
Pretty
So-
much. Yeah.
All right, Bubba. This is funny because this is a full it's a great way to end it because this is a full Fantasy Pros run because
August, September leading off.
yeah, I mean I should be out of it because that's how it worked this year. These two,
Exactly. A piece of Pia in the house.
yeah, the September hosting. Yeah, we do have a piece of Pia relative here with September hosting on Fantasy Pros. Bubba and the Arico, as they call it. Bubba, you're going to give us two names. You were going off script too on this one, so this should be interesting. No, I did not expect we were going to have two Marlins on the must draft targets out of the industry this year. But shout out to Chris Towers. You are going to go down that road, and you're going to go with the Marlins going inside the top 100. So break us out with your hitter that you're targeting.
I was kind of mad it was the top 100. I like to be a little outside the box here, but for those that know, catchers matter. So we're talking Goose up in here. Agustin Ramirez. Everyone used to love JT Realmuto, because what's he do? He steals bases. He hits for average. This guy doesn't, but he hits for power. The Goose is good. He's legit a 2020 upside catcher. Like, we haven't seen that in a long time. In 136 games, he hit 21 homers and stole 16 bags. He hit 231. Yes, not desirable, but he did that while striking out less than 20% of the time. Like, that's really impressive for a young ball player in his first stint in the bigs. 23 years old, not striking out, still crushing baseballs, which is what you want to see. Again, it's a high ADP, but if you're talking about a guy that can help you across the board, 11% barrel rate, 47% hard hit, he's doing everything you want at the plate. You just hope that 253 BABIP can get closer to his normal, like, let's say 300 BABIP. Now you're talking about a 250 hitter that's going to hit 2020, and that's just elite from the catcher's position. You've heard a lot of talks to this week already talking about, the NFBC panel talked about, you don't want dead weight at any position. And guys that wait on catchers, not always dead weight, but likely dead weight. A 2020 catcher is not dead weight, no matter what he hits, in my opinion. So, elite option at the catching position.
I think there's like a systematic change with the Marlins. I mean, like, we talk about Marcy, Kyle Stowers is just a dude. Ramirez, like, I feel like they got put in weird spots, and maybe we'd be like hyper focused on what they've done with their pitching, but the hitting is taking a turn too. Just from like not an organization that we like sit and talk about, and we're like, man, they do awesome stuff. Like, we don't do that with hitting, but there seems to be something. And I don't know, is there anything with that where you look and you're just like, man, there are multiple players that we want to target and are breaking? I mean, he's kind of a unicorn, I suppose, in himself, but there's something about what the team is doing and developing.
They're doing great stuff. Like, you've mentioned Marcy, who's awesome. I've heard some people say, hey, he's the next PCA, good or bad? But that could be pretty.
I'll take 30-30 at least.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
even
you
if it falls
get some
apart.
good love there.
Yeah.
Stowers is awesome. They traded. I think Norby's actually pretty good. Just couldn't stay healthy. Like, they got pieces. Like, I've had the luxury on Chris Towers preview the Marlins with me last year. When I left that show, there was a lot more optimism I had with that team, because if they weren't up yet, they're close. Like, especially the pitching. Like, some guys that he named that we didn't even see them all at least a full go this year. I don't know. Hey, don't be jealous, Sporer. Don't be jealous. But the Marlins, we always want to say they're onto something, and this is where Chris might want to turn his, plug your ears. They always find a way to sell it, or like they win one and then sell it, so you get to win the one at least. But they are building something, that is for sure. There's a lot of young talent that's close that looks like they could be productive.
Okay, one more follow-up on that. Is there any hesitation to taking a catcher in the top 100? No. I'm pretty against it. I mean, Cal Raleigh, he is the right guy here. He's
the wrong
well,
guy.
I know. I mean, you write the catchers in the Fantasy Black Book. Shout out Pia.
Yeah.
I get that, but like, there's no hesitation to
There
top
is.
100 catchers.
There is. I get the hesitation. It comes down to, are you comfortable building something else later on? Like, they say the opportunity cost, I guess, for what you take an early catcher for. Like, Cal Raleigh's amazing. I'm not taking Cal Raleigh at all this year at that price. Not a chance.
Yeah. How many other catchers?
King William, I debate, because I think you're getting a discount on a guy that is an average power source. William Contreras. King William.
Yeah.
Respect his name.
Well, sorry.
And then the Goose.
I hit a button with the catcher thing. I apologize.
Yeah,
I forgot your love of catchers. I had a sore spot.
How much longer do we have here?
That is mine. Thanks, everybody. That was the show. So
I think there are some viable options. It just comes down to what's your comfort. Like, Ben Rice is going to play every day. You don't get that out of a catcher, so that changes things.
Is Ben Rice going in the top 100?
He's going at 77 right now.
I'll take Ben Rice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's like so. There's viability to a catcher in the first.
Yeah, and moving around and stuff in the stolen bases.
Yeah.
I poke a little bit at the build
Oh, no,
of
not you,
catchers
not
and
you,
stuff.
not you,
Yeah,
no.
just not a big catcher guy. But all right, it's a good pick. Gusto Ramirez, I buy it.
Oh wow.
All right, we're going to bring it home with a pitcher, and he's somebody who was very popular at the beginning of last season in the spring. Wasn't Clay Holmes, not Ryan Weathers. Who we got, Bubba?
Yeah, this is one where I keep telling myself I shouldn't do it, but I'm very interested in Gavin Williams. It's a combination of things. Like you look at his ADP, and you're looking at a guy going at the wonderful 147 right now, so he's not costing you a fortune. You're looking at a pitcher finally made the 31 starts. You said people liked him coming into last year. They liked him coming into the season before, and he couldn't get healthy. Like that was a pain. So we got the 31 starts, which is big. We got the 168 innings, which is huge. Now you'll point to the 306 ERA is great. The Sierra 4.38. You could hope for more. It's the whip with Gavin Williams that people will point to, and it was a 1.27. And yes, it was very tilting for a guy that rostered Gavin Williams. It's very tough, but, and this is something we have to try to. Is the takeaways from the offseason to try to find anything valuable out there. You don't take every split for granted, but you look. Gavin Williams improved as the season went along. Is where I'm going with this. Second half, he had a 2.18 ERA compared to 3.70 in the first half. When you go deeper into Gavin Williams' arsenal, we talked about that whip problem. Dude had a whopping 1.43 whip in the first half, 1.05 in the second half. It's called improvements, folks. That is very impressive. He had an 18.4% K to walk compared to 9% in the first half. Again, it's small samples. I get it, but dude's 26. He's going to be 27. He finally had his first healthy season. The quote-unquote prospect pedigree has always been there with Gavin Williams. I'm optimistic. Like, I love Tanner Bybee. That's kind of been frustrating. I hope Gavin Williams doesn't go that direction, but I do like the appeal of Gavin Williams. And at that price, I'm willing to take a chance as my SP2, SP3 that maybe takes that bump to the next level.
As my resident NFBC big winner, you're now our target here. Is Gavin Williams a target for you?
I like Gavin Williams. I'm not over the moon with him, but I'm more convinced based on seeing what he did in the second half. He improved across the board. The velocity is in a good range. I think is Dr. Dave here? Is he out saving lives? 96.6 is pretty solid. The stuff has improved over the last 3 years. Overall, I like him in the second half over the last 14, 15 starts of the year. It's hard not to be impressed with him. And that early price is not prohibitive at all. 150, 160-ish, you said? Something like that. I can be convinced pretty easily.
What are we pointing at?
That's his ADP.
Yeah, 147. I can be convinced. The same ADP as Trevor Rogers.
When you got Pepe was close by, like it's a discussion to be had.
If I draft a catcher right outside the top 100, can we still be friends?
Of course, I will always be. If we got a brother from another mother, dude.
That's right.
We go way back.
We do go way back.
Yeah, we're good.
Casey Bubba in the Bloom. So it's a super unique experience we get to do because we'll do these videos on Fantasy Pros and we'll say, hey, who's the industry drafting? And we can look at data that we have on Fantasy Pros. We have them here. It's a super cool thing to be able to do. It's definitely a different, probably viewing experience for anybody watching on YouTube. But having everybody here, getting the experience, getting the reactions is kind of the fun thing. And these are going to continue to evolve. We're going to continue to go in as everybody does their work, gets into drafts, listens to some of the really crazy smart people here, finding who they're drafting. And it'll also be about the developing side of our teams, what we start to build and how we get some of these targets. You think we uncovered the names? You feel good?
I feel great. That was a lot of fun. It gives the people, like you said, a whole different type of experience. Industry's favorite players is something that we talk about for 6 months whenever there's no baseball. We immediately start as soon as the ADP's out. Who is the industry targeting? And you heard it firsthand. And honestly, I'm here every year. You're here every year. It sounds like the start of a new tradition, my friend. It's
a brand new tradition. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know who your targets are for this year. We'll give away some swag. We'll give away. I got some codes, by the way. I'm gonna randomly pick a few people. I got some hat codes, and maybe you could use it for shirts and stuff. One person on YouTube, make your comments on your favorite players. We will rock those. Was that fake or real Paul? I can't tell which one, but one of the Pauls is going to get a code, and maybe you could too that's watching. Thank you guys on YouTube for watching us, and thank you to the amazing audience that hung with us. Thank you to James. Thank you to Rico. We are out for now. You guys have a fantastic one. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Right here, live in Arizona and on Fantasy Pros. Bye-bye.